All right, well, let's get started. So this afternoon for the session I'll be presenting, see some of you that are in here, you will have seen this before in our classroom sessions. This is one of the classroom sessions I deliver a couple times a year. And it's meant to give the players, when we're doing a classroom session, but players, coaches, parents, whoever want to look at this, it gives you a good, well-rounded idea of the general ideas we're looking to teach and that I teach the kids when it comes to goalkeeper positioning, communication. Now, the communication piece in there just goes hand in hand with the positioning, because you'll be communicating with your team, and that's going to affect how you position, how they position, and what's going to transpire in the play that's facing you. So again, for those of you that just joined, if you want to ask a question, you can unmute your mic. You can ask a question at any time. If you want to, you can also, there's a chat button that you can press, and you can essentially type in a question or type in something in the chat, and I can see that, and then we can respond to that. So goalkeeper positioning and communication. Again, today we'll be going over general information of what I'm looking for as a goalkeeper coach and trainer when I come watch you in games and when we're in practice. So first, position description of a goalkeeper. When you are on offense, provide good information, provide support as a passing option for your defenders under pressure, control tempo of play with distribution, stay connected by constantly adjusting your position, do not ball watch. To initiate the counterattack when numbers are up, forward positions, move the ball aggressively to unsettle defenders, find outside midfielders and backs with quick throws, passes to change the point of attack. When we have goal kicks, we're looking for the best option for our team. So here it says deep distribution to target players or spaces. Obviously, from a goal kick, if we can start a counter attack or a quick goal scoring opportunity, for the most part, that's what we're looking for. So let's go up to that first one there. So first, when we're on offense, that means our team has the ball. And as a goalkeeper, your mindset has to change. The days of you just sitting back in your 6-yard box and waiting for people to kick balls at you are over. You need to be able to be a player, okay? Be the first attacker. So providing good information on offense, that means maybe my team has the ball, but I don't have it, and I'm helping direct them where maybe we want to head with the ball. Because I'm the goalkeeper, I can see the whole field and have a little bit more time on my hands to help my teammates out. So we want to give good information. Kind of think of yourself as a coach on the field. Provide support as a passing option for defenders under pressure. So again, we don't just want to leave our defenders stranded. We don't roll the ball or pass the ball out to our defenders or our midfielders and then just sit back and say, okay, you're going to take care of it. You want to make sure that you're providing options for them. Again, you can be giving them good information through communication. You can be opening up into spaces to allow them to pass back to you to get out of pressure. And you need to consistently be doing that as long as you're moving out of your defensive third and into the middle third. You can control the tempo of play with your distribution. There's a lot of different situations that come up in a game. There's times as goalkeepers we need to move a little bit faster. Sometimes that might be because we're down and we need to score quick and we're running out of time. So we're gonna up the tempo. We're gonna get the ball out quickly. We're gonna look to press our team upfield and score. Other times we might be ahead, so we might want to take a little bit more time, hold on to the ball a little bit longer, take our time with our goal kicks, and make sure we're really putting our team in an advantageous position while controlling the ball and keeping it in our possession. Staying connected by constantly adjusting your position. Do not ball watch. I think this is one of the hardest ones for goalkeepers, is the ball watch, because we do spend a significant amount of time where the ball is in the total other end of the field. You know, if that ball is all the way down in the attacking third of the field as a goalkeeper, there's not a whole lot for me to do that affects the play. I can change my positioning a little bit. There's not, I can yell to my teammates to help them out. So it's very easy to become kind of disconnected from the game and ball watch. So you'll have to find things that will help you stay engaged with the play. Look to initiate the counterattack when numbers are up in forward positions. Okay, so again, we talk about numbers being up. It means maybe the other team just had a corner kick and we have the ball, so we know that they only have a couple of defenders back. So we can attack that quickly by getting the ball up beyond their team that's maybe in our 18-yard box or closer to our box, getting it in behind their players, and we can start to counterattack. If that's not the case, if they have a lot of numbers back, maybe that's when we play the ball short and look to build out. Move the ball aggressively to unsettle defenders. What that means for you as a goalkeeper is you have to understand where people are in the game and what the situation is. So if the other team is pressed up high, moving the ball aggressively might be playing the ball quickly in behind them. If the other team is backed off, playing the ball aggressively is going to be moving it side to side and helping your defense move it around until they can find a way forward. And we want to do that quickly. We don't want to freeze the ball a whole lot. We don't want to just put our foot on it and allow the other team to move into position. We want to quickly change the point of attack, where we move the ball to and where we might start to attack from. Find outside midfielders and back with quick throws or passes to change the point of attack. So that goes with what we just talked about. Generally, there's going to be more space on the outside of the field. So that's where we'll look to move the ball safely to the people on the outside backs, your 2s and 3s, your 7s and 11s. Let them have a little bit of space out there so maybe they can create and go forward with their teammates. Sometimes the middle of the field does become the most open area, but it's very rare that you're going to be playing right up the middle of the field with short passing. Goal kicks and deep distribution to target players or spaces. So depending upon what your team's been working on, I know that we work a lot on building out of the back, getting wide, looking to play short and keep the ball as we work upfield. Absolutely keep doing that. The goal kicks with deep distribution to target players or spaces, again, is for when those situations present themselves. Maybe you have been playing short out of the back, you've been playing possession, you've now sucked the other team up, so they're pressing you a little bit more, and that's going to open up spaces downfield farther, in behind their defense and in behind their lines, and that's where you'd look to use your deep distribution to target players or spaces. As we go through probably a couple slides at a time, I'm going to ask somebody to ask me a question at the end of the slides, just so we make sure that we're engaging with the presentation. We'll go through the position description of goalkeeper when we're playing defense. So now the other team has the ball. Okay, we are no longer in possession, so our whole mind has to change from that we have the ball, how can we attack or keep the ball, to how do we prevent the ball from getting into our goal. And we can see there the most important thing is our number one job: prevent the ball from getting in behind you and entering the goal. We have A, B, and C here. So first option would be, hopefully, we can save and obtain possession for our team. B would be, okay, if I have to make a save and maybe just knock it out of bounds or kick it out of bounds for a throw-in, that's not too bad. And then C would be, as long as I keep it out of the net and it ends up maybe in a corner kick to prevent a goal, that's an okay option too. But kind of in that order. Can I save the ball? Can I keep possession for my team? Verbally organized defense as play is developing, helps spacing and marking organization, especially from set pieces. Look to intercept and or clear through balls, act as a sweeper keeper. Avoid pressure on back passes, clear or distribute quickly. Dominate your 18-yard box physically and verbally. Be authoritative, but inspire calm. Confident, sound defending. Display positive body language at all times. Anticipate mistakes. Okay, so if we go back to the first one again, number one rule, we can't be worried about starting an attack and then let a goal in because maybe we've been playing way too high upfield. Or again, we take our eye off the ball because now I'm worried about tossing it out to my outside back so they can attack. We got to make sure that we prevent the ball from getting behind us at all costs. Again, we talked a little bit about A, B, and C. Okay, keep it out of the net. If I can keep it out of the net and keep it, that is for my team. That is best. Otherwise, if I have to just knock it out of bounds one way or the other to keep it out of the net, that's fine too. Verbally organizing defense as plays developing is very important, because this is where you can kill a play. You can kill an issue. You can put a fire out before it really becomes a fire. And that's me maybe doing something as simple as reminding one of my defenders that likes to wander around, maybe to just tuck inside a little bit more and help their center back out. It's as simple as getting my back line to push up or drop off. It's as simple as just telling my defender to watch the ball, take a look at the ball, rather than maybe putting your head down and staring at your feet or just quitting on a play. Verbally organizing your defense can be complex, but it can be very simple, like those examples I just gave. And again, that's where if you as a goalkeeper, with what you know, if you can give them instruction to help make the game a little clearer for them, you can stop a goal scoring opportunity before it even starts. Again, here at the end, it says, especially from set pieces. We won't talk much about set pieces today at all. That's a whole separate PowerPoint we'll do, session we'll do that just talks about set pieces, but you'll find out there how critical communicating key pieces of information will be to your team to make sure you're not giving up easy goals. Look to intercept or clear through balls, act as a sweeper keeper. That's, again, the modern goalkeeper here. We're not sitting back in our 18-yard box when our team's up in the other team's third. We are pressed up out of our box. Sometimes we're even closer to half field than we are to our 18-yard box. And we're always looking to have you be more aggressive and kind of push those lines, especially if you're in practice, pushing where your positioning is to see what is safe and what is not safe. There's no use being passive or sitting back when you're having training. You might as well push it a little bit and see what you can and can't do. And then in the games, we try to find that exact right spot where we can be high enough upfield to support our team, but not really give up options over our head or in behind us. Avoid pressure on back passes, clear or distribute quickly. So again, as you start to be able to read the game a little bit better and understand what's going on and get a little more confidence with wanting the ball at your own feet and understanding sometimes the best option for your defender, rather than sprinting into a corner and playing 1v1 with somebody, it's just them giving you a back pass. You're going to need to know when is the time when you can put your foot on the ball and maybe move it out the other side of the field with some quick passing, or when you just have to clear the ball. Dominate your 18-yard box physically and verbally. Be authoritative and inspire calm, confident, sound defending. Again, this is something as you get older and you learn more, you go to more classroom sessions, you learn more about the position, you see more things, you make more mistakes. Really, the more mistakes you make, as long as you're learning from them, the better you're going to get at goalkeeper. You'll find if you're not making many mistakes, you probably aren't pushing yourself enough to discover new things and really figure out how you can be the best goalkeeper you can be. You have to not be afraid to make mistakes. As you do that, you can start to learn what dominating your 18-yard box physically and verbally is, because you're not afraid of making those mistakes. You can have some more confidence. You can be learning more. And then you'll be able to do all the things at the tail end of this sentence, like instill calm and confidence in your defenders, tell them what to do. You'll have positive body language, so you'll know more of what's going on, and you'll be able to anticipate those mistakes more. But it does take a little bit of time. It does take you pushing yourself to get better. And again, not being fearful of making a mistake. So from these first two, what does a goalkeeper do in offense and what does a goalkeeper do in defense? Let's get maybe one of you out there to give me one question you have about that, or one thing that you don't understand. Just give me a little comment or a message here so I can answer. Give you a few seconds and then we'll move on. All right, we got a couple. Is a goalie considered part of the defense? Absolutely. It's the goalkeeper is considered part of the defense and part of the offense. And in these two descriptions, it's what is that goalkeeper doing when the team has the ball and when they don't have the ball. So you're considered part of both defense and offense. Another question: what can you do to become more confident and less fearful? That's a great question. Because confidence is a learned skill. You need to, again, try to eliminate that fear of making a mistake. You need to understand that mistakes are going to happen, and that is okay. That is absolutely okay. And really, if you're not making mistakes, you're probably not pressing yourself to try to discover your boundaries. So you'll start to discover that you'll make some mistakes, and it's not the end of the world. That helps you learn what is the better thing to do on the next play. And that is how you start to become more confident. You're putting more information in your head. Doing stuff like this, watching videos of goalkeepers, practicing hard, asking questions. If you don't understand what you're supposed to be doing, asking questions of your coach, that's very important. Then another last question here: is there a limit to how far up the field the goalkeeper can go? Well, I would say in most cases, unless your team needs a goal in the final minutes, probably the halfway line. When I was in Germany last year, the majority of the team we played over there in their academy systems, their goalkeepers regularly, if the ball was in the attacking third, the goalkeepers were regularly in the center circle. And they're forced them to pay attention, not get caught out, but that's kind of where, if you're confident, you understand what's going on, you can get up that high. That'll help you communicate with your defense, and again, be able to cut out some of those through balls that come in behind. All right, we'll move on here. Okay, so positioning concepts. When we talk about basic positioning, there's vertical positioning, lateral positioning, and horizontal positioning. Vertical positioning means where are you standing when the ball's in each third of the field. So you've heard me talk about defending third, middle third, attacking third. Okay, again, that attacking third, that's down by the other team's goal. The middle third is kind of the space in the middle of the field, about a 30-yard section in there, either side of the line. And the defending third is probably 10 to 15 yards outside your 18-yard box to your goal line, and it's different where you'll want to be positioning. And we'll go over some pictures that'll show you, give you a little idea of that in a second. Lateral positioning is positioning along the ball line as the ball moves. Again, that ball line is that line between the middle of the net and wherever the ball is. That lateral positioning becomes very important as the ball moves into your defending third. Maybe not so important as the ball is in the attacking third of the field. Horizontal positioning, so that'll be your positioning when the ball is in the wide areas of the field. So we call those the flanks. So that's where you see crosses come from, and there's certain ideas you should be thinking about when the ball is coming from that end of the field that is different from everywhere else. Some more positioning concepts is precise positioning, maximizing your save percentage by being in the right place at the right time. So when we really talk about precise positioning, that's something that as we would go into, say, a PowerPoint on just 1v1 saves, breakaway 1v1 situation type of saves, that's where we could really talk about precise positioning. Or if we're just talking about set pieces, or if we're just talking about shots from outside the box, you can really start to get into the details of what you should be doing in those situations. For here, we're a little more generic in general, so we won't get into precise positioning too often. But it's maximizing your save percentage by being in the right place at the right time. Ball line, again, we just said that earlier, an imaginary line from the goal to the ball. In most situations, the keeper is straddling this line. That ball line is probably your most important piece of positioning information you need. Put that cone in the middle of the net on your goal line, and as long as you're standing between that cone and wherever the ball's being shot from, you're going to be in a pretty decent situation. An angle arc, it's just a frame of reference used positioning for shot stop. Starts at 1 yard outside the post and peaks top of the 6-yard box and finishes outside the other post. I would say angle arc isn't used a ton anymore when we teach goalkeeping. It still can be very useful, but really understanding ball line and where to position on the ball line is a little more important. Okay, so here's just some pictures that are going to match up with the positioning concepts that we just talked about. So attacking third positioning, you can see here, my team, the blue team there, they have the ball all the way up in the other team's final third. And for me as a goalkeeper, my main concern here is I want to make sure I'm getting outside of my 18-yard box and I'm staying connected with my defense. So I want to be somewhere between 15 and maybe 20 yards away from them. Reason there is if a ball is played over their head, that gives me a good opportunity to make the play rather than them having to turn and run backwards and sprint with a player. If I'm 15 to 20 yards away from as the ball's in that final third, I can communicate some things again, just with where they're positioning, or if I can maybe even free some of them to join the attack. If the other team only has one forward up there, we probably don't need 4 defenders back there. And I can see that and remind them, hey, Tommy or Susie, you can go push up field. We don't need 4 defenders for 1 forward. Middle third positioning. This is where it gets a little trickier because the middle third's a big area of the field. And if it's in the middle third on the other side of half, I don't have to worry so much. If it's in the middle third on my side of the half, and if the other team has it, that's going to change drastically where I'm positioning. So if it's in the middle third on my side of the half, but my team has it, I'm probably outside of my 18-yard box, getting ready to help support the play and pass the ball around. But now if possession changes, I'm going to be dropping more to the top of my 18, reading the play to see if somebody's looking to take a shot. I can still be high up, though. I can still be at the top of my 18-yard box. I can still be watching the play from up there and reading the game. And as long as I'm not just ball watching and falling asleep, I'm not going to get caught with a ball shot over my head. Then defending third positioning. This is obvious in front of my goal. These are goal scoring opportunities for the other team. Again, if my team is in possession, I can not worry about my net as much. I can look to support the play and help build out. But if the other team has it in my defending third, this is where I'm a true goalkeeper, keeping the ball out of my net. You can see the goalkeeper here is pushed back pretty close to his goal line. And he's just going to read the play. He or she's going to read the play from back there and do what is necessary in position, however is necessary. If the ball moves out on the flank, they'll move around a little bit. If the ball comes inside their 18, they'll be thinking about some different things, which we'll talk about in a little bit. If the ball's outside the 18, they'll be positioning a little bit different. But you can see the goalkeeper is fairly conservative here. They are back close to their line. Let's see if we can just get one question here about the vertical positioning in the thirds of the field. Somebody give me a question. Okay, back to the thirds of the field there. Can everybody hear me? Is everybody back in? Somebody give me a thumbs up. Perfect, thank you. Sorry about that. I think I pushed a button I wasn't supposed to push and I had to log back in. All right, so we're back to the middle thirds of the field. I asked for a question on that. Anybody have a question about that? Let's see here. Perfect. Okay, very important that you stay engaged with the middle thirds of the field. I think one of the two most important parts to that vertical positioning is making sure that you are understanding which third of the field the ball is in, and then just understanding who has possession. That really becomes the biggest issues that you have to concern yourself with, and then you can start to learn from there. Here's an illustration of that ball line and the angle arc. You can see the angle arc is 1 yard outside each post to the top of the 6. And again, that's just a frame of reference for you guys, because when we talk about ball line, again, it's between the middle of the net and the ball, but then it's how far out are we? Are we coming out? You can see here the goalkeeper in blue, is a little bit closer to his line, in the middle of her 6-yard box. And then if the goalkeeper, when is the time for the goalkeeper to come closer to the soccer ball or move back farther to the line? We'll talk a little bit about that in the next few slides. Okay, positioning for shots. Inside the penalty area, ball line and angle arc are the most important here. You should look to steal ground. Exception to stealing ground is if the ball is bouncing. Okay, so again, we won't go into too much detail about this, but this describes a couple of different situations there that you face as a goalkeeper. So as the ball moves into the 18-yard box, that's where you can look as a goalkeeper to be more aggressive with your positioning, to maybe cut the angle. Obviously, if you have defenders in front of you, if there's still defenders playing the ball or between the ball and the goal, you don't have to look to cut the angle so much. You have them kind of doing that work for you. Just want to be in a good position on your ball line, but you don't necessarily have to worry about running towards the ball. When it talks about the exception of stealing ground, if the ball is bouncing, if you have a ball that comes bouncing into your box and it's kind of a 1v1 situation, if you can get to that bouncing ball first, absolutely go knock that bouncing ball away, catch the bouncing ball, whatever you want. But if that ball is bouncing and you don't know if you're going to get there in time or if the attacker is going to get there first, you're going to want to sit back on your line a little bit more. It's going to give you more time to react to that attacking player's first touch. Outside the penalty area, positioning can be more conservative, which means we're going to be sitting back on our goal line a little bit more. Reason why is because the ball has to travel a greater distance to get to the goal. So the ball is farther away. If I get caught too far out, it opens up over my head, and I'm going to have to do a lot of work running backwards to try to get in a position to save the ball. So when the ball is outside your 18-yard box, again, you're in your defending third, the other team has the ball, but you're outside your 18-yard box, you're back closer to your line because you can't really cut the angle at that point. The ball is too far away. Stealing space on the ball line and cutting the angle. So you can see here in this illustration, you have the goalkeeper in yellow back closer to his or her line when the ball is outside the 18. And then as the ball would move in, again, the situation here would be there really isn't any defenders helping you out. That's where you'd look to start to steal ground. Because as that ball comes into your 18-yard box, if you're sitting back on your line, there's no pressure on the shooter and they can just pick a spot and shoot it there, and the net looks really big. But you can see as the goalkeeper in yellow moves forward to cut the angle there and steals ground, you can see that space for the ball to get past them is much smaller. Quickly, when it comes to the stealing space on the ball and ball line and cutting the angle and stopping shots inside the box versus outside the box, let's see if we can get a good question about those situations before we move on, and then we'll get on to crossing. Again, you can type a question if you have one. A couple more seconds, and then I'll just come up with my own question that I hear all the time. Okay, how about what if there is a defender, the attacking player's around the defender, but the defender can still get back and help. Should I steal ground or should I not steal ground? And the answer there would be is you should steal ground, but it's going to change your thought process. You're maybe not so worried about defending the whole net, and now you're just trying to steer the attacker, knowing that you have a defender coming back to help. So really you're trying to delay the play by putting a little bit of pressure, making the net look smaller, and then your defender can come back and help. And again, if we were doing a 1v1 session, we get a lot more detailed on all the different cues you can read in different situations you'll face that you can cut the angle on. Oh, there's one more good question. One good question came from that stealing the angle slide. What if you move up too fast and you're up too far, should you recover? Okay, that's a good one. So you've came out to cut the angle, but now you realize, I'm not going to get to the ball. What should I do? I would say, if again, this would be a situation where you were back and you're coming forward. Okay, so you've started to put pressure on the ball and cut the angle, but you realize now maybe you're kind of in a no man's land and a tough place to defend. I would say stay out there and continue to put pressure on the ball and just try to be big, rather than turning your back and running backwards. Now, if it's a situation where you were caught off your line early, you weren't in a 1v1 situation, but you were caught out early, then you would want to recover. All right, positioning for crosses. Things to think about here for positioning for crosses. Again, this is going to be that kind of horizontal positioning. Like cutting the angle is your lateral positioning. Now, horizontally, we gotta figure out what we want to do for these crosses. And when the ball is out in a wide position, we don't always want to be on our ball line. There's different places we can stand in position that give us a little more control over the situation. So technical considerations, again, technical meaning what are you kind of doing physically? Tactical meaning what's your thought process and how are you mentally moving through the play? So technical considerations, body shape. Okay, which way or how are my hips facing? Am I more upright? Am I lower to the ground? We got to think about how that's gonna work out. What's gonna benefit us the most? Footwork. Okay, am I standing still? Am I hopping around? Am I in a set position? What am I getting ready to do? Elevation of correct knee. Again, the knee in a crossing situation when the ball's in the air, the knee is there to help give you lift, essentially to help jump and get to the ball, and then it can help steer you. It does not really protect you at all. So we want to use the knee for steering and for lift. Tactical considerations, establish starting position and position of the ball. Read, then respond. In swinging versus out swinging, and catching versus boxing. Okay, so first of all, when it comes to body shape, let's see the next slide here. When it comes to body shape, you can see here, there's a player out wide with the ball. They are outside the 18-yard box, so they're a decent distance away. And you can see the goalkeeper there, his hips are open to both the field. Okay, so it's open both to the top of the 18-yard box and the penalty box, or the penalty dot. And it is open to the ball, where the ball is. So now that goalkeeper can move around plenty of different directions, rather than if the goalkeeper was just flat against the line, or if the goalkeeper was square to the side of the field. Here you can also see the goalkeeper is positioned in that number 2 position, the middle of the net. Okay. Reason why is that ball is out farther. So just like the shot was coming from outside the 18, we'd want to be a little more conservative. Here for the goalkeeper, we can play from the middle of the field a little bit more. We don't have to worry about the ball line and the shot line, because a shot from out that far, you should be able to move to where it is going from the middle of the net. You should be fine. So if we end up positioning in that 1 position, that's going to open up a lot of space over our head. In the 2 and 3 position, it's going to be really hard to recover and make those saves. If we line up in the 3 position, we might not be able to cover that 1 position if somebody does hit a shot. So starting centrally, hips open to the ball, about a yard or a foot to a yard off your goal line, depending upon your size and athletic ability. And we're in that middle 2 zone for those crosses. Okay, now that might change, and it might turn into something called a 3-goal situation. Okay, so in a 3-goal situation, it is where the ball is moved into the 18-yard box. You can see here, we'll go over this. This will be the chart we're looking at here, 1, 2, and 3, those different positions. First goal, is the actual goal. The keeper remains patient at the near post in case of a direct shot. So you can see here on this slide, the goalkeeper is standing in that one position between the post and kind of the top of the six, but the keeper has to pay attention to the goal first. If the keeper cheats too far out towards the top of their 6-yard box, they're going to leave a space between the post and them open for an easy goal. And again, you can see the shooter here has dribbled into the 18-yard box. They're close to the end line, but now they're in more of a shooting situation rather than a crossing situation. So the goalkeeper will get into that first zone there, making sure that their heels are kind of even with the post. We don't want to end up diving into the post or diving into our goal. But you can also see there that the goalkeeper's hips are square to the shooter. And that's what we'd want to see. We don't want to see your hips angled, kind of guarding both the front of the net and the post. We want to see you square to the shooter, protecting that little miniature goal you've made in spot number 1. Second goal, that'll be number 2, is defined as the area from the near post to the top of the 6-yard box. So again, you can see that there. So I have to protect spot number 1 because I don't want them to just kick the ball in. So I'm going to be in a good set position there, ready for a shot. But now maybe if they go for a cutback through spot number 2, I can dive or anticipate that a little bit and make a save to disrupt that play. But 1 is my first responsibility. I got a shot at 2, and then we'll worry about the third goal. And that's the space behind the goalkeeper at the near post and kind of in the middle of the field. So you can see that's that whole space back there. And now what I tend to see from a lot of goalkeepers that are just starting out is I see you guys worrying a little bit too much about spot number 3, and you kind of stay in the middle of the net. Now the ball's getting dribbled in, and then you maybe end up kind of closer to your near post, but you're inside your goal, and it leaves open every option still for the attacking player to shoot. So we really want to make sure as that ball enters the 18 from those wide positions close to the end line, we're looking for this 3-goal situation, getting even with the near post, paying attention to the goal first, then worrying about spot 2, and then not worrying about spot 3 until the ball goes there. That's kind of our defense's fault. They gotta close down spot number 3. Question, give me one question about either the crossing or the 3-goal situation. Think of something in a game maybe you've ran into where you were confused and didn't know what to do. That'd probably be the easiest one. So a 3-goal or a crossing situation, give me a question. I'll give you about 10 seconds here. Okay, good. So there's a simple question. So there's defenders in the 3rd goal. What if there are defenders in there? Okay, the defenders are the good guys. They're on my team. And if I have defenders in the 3rd goal, I'm happy about that. Because again, that's the area I don't want to worry about until the ball goes there. So if I have defenders there, I think for me that mean I could be even more aggressive in that 1 and 2 spot, making sure I'm getting into those windows. But yes, that would be good if there was defenders there. We hope our defenders get there, and that's why we go into window number 1 is to delay the play. So hopefully they have to go to window 3, and defenders can end up there. If your defenders are not there and it goes to 3, that's where if you did your job and they put the ball there and the other team scores, maybe you got to talk to your defenders a little bit. Oh, okay, we switched it up. They said maybe what if there's attackers in the 3? We can't worry about the attackers. Again, we got to worry about spot 1 and spot 2 because that's where the ball is, and then we worry about spot 3 later on. Another one, good one. Should we worry more about covering 1 spot or 2 spot? Absolutely more covering 1 spot. The 1 spot is the most important. The 1 spot is the goal itself. So the whole idea is we want to make it harder to score in that goal. So to start out, you might get into that window, but you might play a little tighter to your post. Maybe just leave like a foot opening there, a 6-inch opening until you feel comfortable moving out a little bit more. So yes, 1 is absolutely the most important. 2 is a bonus. And 3 is the emergency save, and hopefully our defenders get back. Good questions. Okay, so we've kind of gone through, again, we're hitting the generals, the basics of positioning there. We went through ball line, we went through crossing situations, we went through vertical, horizontal, lateral positioning, and some of the ideas. And we didn't get into too much detail with those. Each one of those can be broken down into its own session, which we will do with some of those and present them on Zoom here, where you can really, really start to figure out what to do in those specific situations. But for general ideas, that's what we just covered is what you need to know and where you need to start. So now to add on to our positioning, we'll just go over a few slides here and talk about basic communication. Okay, so for good communication, we need to know what to communicate, need to know when to communicate it, need to know how to communicate it. And again, you need experience to be good at communication. You can't just go out there and start yelling a bunch of stuff because you've heard it before. You need to actually know what you're saying and why you're saying it. And then again, how to say it. And in general, if you're a goalkeeper, how to say it is as a command and not as a question and not in a timid manner. You're saying it as a command and as a leader. So again, if you don't know what to say, you probably shouldn't say anything. But where we can start is you can start with simple terms like keeper and away. And we'll talk a little bit about when to use those two terms. Importance of communication. Again, the more I know and the more I know what to communicate, I can prevent shots and goals. I can increase confidence both in myself and in my team. I can control the game's tempo. I can help maintain my team's shape, which is a huge one, and avoid counterattacks. But each one of those, it's going to require you understanding what to do. And that's going to be learning what to do in environments like this where we're watching a PowerPoint. It's going to be, again, getting into games and not being afraid of making mistakes. It's going to be asking your coach questions. It's going to be communicating with your teammates and letting them know when you don't really know what they're doing and helping them get into the right spots, and then them letting you know what they're trying to do, so you can read them a little bit better. But it takes time. Keys to good communication. Got to be clear so players can understand the goalkeeper and respond. So again, that's where you got to be a leader. You got to be loud. It's got to be a command, not a question. Not I'm kind of going to tell you to do something. You got to be a little bit bossy. You got to be specific. Assign responsibility. Don't be a cheerleader. I hear a lot of cheerleading. The ball's down at the other end of the field, and the goalkeeper's talking, but they're just doing play-by-play. Shoot, pass, cross. You're not really helping anybody. You're just adding to the chaos in that play. Doesn't mean you can't say good job to a defender when they had a ball away. It just means when the ball's 60 yards away from you, there's not a whole lot you can be doing or saying. Tone can dictate the mood. So being demanding creates urgency, and you can also help calm your team down. You imagine if you're a goalkeeper and you're just yelling at everybody all the time and telling they're screwing up and being panicky. I don't think you're going to get very good results out of your defenders as a response. But if you're giving them some direction on how to fix things, they're going to be a lot more calm. They're going to be a lot more relaxed and be able to make better decisions. We will just talk about, again, the two simple ones where you can start out as a goalkeeper is just understanding kind of the three main terms. It's going to be keeper, and that's what you're yelling, that full word, keeper, when you want to come get the ball. Okay, you're coming out to get a ball, to punch it, to catch it, to run into a bunch of people, whatever you're deciding to do, and you yell keeper, you have to go get the ball. Away is when you want nothing to do with the ball, and you want your defenders to make a strong, aggressive play, get the ball away, get it out of a dangerous area. You can also yell away and go for the ball. Okay, so if you're a keeper and you're having a tough time figuring out when to call keeper, you maybe should go for it. You can yell away and you can still go for the ball, and then your defenders are still going for it too. that is okay to do. And that's a good way to start to learn when to and when not to say keeper, is by at least giving yourself the position to make the play by yelling away, and then everybody's kind of making an aggressive play on the ball. Then the third one would be home and asking for a pass back. And the most common one to use is home. For you guys, you could use your defender's name and ask for the ball. But home is the most common term when you want that ball played back through you. That's kind of the third one. I think those three you can start to use right away in every single game, and the situations you should be using them are pretty clear cut. And then you can build off of that. Results of good communication. It establishes the goalkeeper as a leader. Games become more predictable. Team is more organized and balanced, and you have more longevity as a goalkeeper. That's for as you get older, you start to realize, again, older just meaning getting into high school. You start to realize you generally are playing the ball with your feet more than you are with your hands, and your ability to communicate is going to help you get to the next level. Your ability to help your entire team be better by helping them get the information they need, telling them what to do in situations, and help keeping them organized. That's going to make you a more valuable goalkeeper, which is going to make you have more longevity in your career. Some of the terminology you'll see consistently as you're playing goalkeeper is keeper, away, contain, delay, pressure, ball, cover, track your runner, push up, push out, tackle, step up, force, left, right, drop, no cross, no shot, wall with a number, turn, man on, hold, don't stab, goal side, weak side, left, right, shoulder, slide left, right, home or keepers on. So again, we talked about the three most important ones all of you should start to use right away: keeper, away, home, and then probably line dropping, learning how to use that drop command to get your line to drop off, and figuring out when the right time is to do that, and then when is the right time for your line to step up. And then helping your teammates check their shoulders and understanding if the gaps are getting too big between your outside backs and your center backs, helping them with that. Those are all things I think you guys can see in front of you. Even when you're a new goalkeeper, you can see that in front of you, and you can give some of that information with some confidence. And again, you got to try stuff. You got to talk to your coaches and ask what they want. Hopefully your coaches are telling you, hey, can you get your back line to step up there? Can you help keep your back line a little bit tighter? Hopefully they're giving you some information to help you organize your team. Let's just get, and that'll be the end of it here, but let's get one or two good questions about communication. I think it's a really important one. And I noticed at this current point, we have a lot of younger goalkeepers in the meeting. So what is something when it comes to communication? What's hard for you, or what's a question you have about communicating with your team? Again, we'll give you a few seconds here to. How do we know if we are communicating too much? Very good. Okay. Again, the first thing is are you just doing play-by-play? Are you just saying what's going on in the game? Are you doing a lot of that? We don't want that. We want what comes out of your mouth to be helpful and giving information. So eliminating, again, stuff like shoot the ball, across the ball, eliminating stuff where you're just yelling at your defenders or saying, how could you do that? Or just being negative. Eliminate that stuff and just try to keep it to things that you notice your team are actually responding to. If your team's not responding to you, you're maybe talking too much or too negatively, or they maybe just need to listen to you more. So it's tough, but again, eliminate the play-by-play. What if your teammates don't listen? Okay, so that's a tough one. And a lot of the times your teammates, it's not they don't want to listen, that they're not listening on purpose. It's just they're tired and they're focused on something else, and they're trying to think of what they're supposed to do, and they're not used to listening to you yet. What I would say to especially younger goalkeepers, just keep communicating. right? And if you can think of situations in game where you're communicating with the same defender over and over, talk with that defender at halftime, talk with them during a break, maybe talk with your coach, and don't do it in an accusatory manner, but say, hey, I'm telling my defense to get back or to push out and nobody's listening to me. And then that's where you can address it. And again, a lot of the times your defenders just aren't, it's not they're not listening to you, they're just not tuned into what you're saying. Yeah, good one. It's hard for me to communicate when I'm focusing really hard on the ball when it's close. Again, as the ball is close and it's in the 18, there's not a whole lot for you to organize or to say. Little bit of step up or what have you, that's about it. But yes, you need to be focusing on the ball. The communication is really for when the ball is outside of the 18 or as it's starting to come a little closer to you, or set pieces again. Yeah, so that's something you just have to get used to, that multitasking of fully concentrating on the ball while maybe giving a little bit of information. What if somebody else on your team is communicating for you? Well, if that person is giving good information, that's okay. But if that person is yelling at you to come out and they're saying, keeper, come out, that becomes a problem because you're the goalkeeper and somebody else is yelling at you to come out. That means you're probably coming out late. But I always put that on the defense. You have to yell keeper when you're coming out. If you're not coming out, well, that's the mistake, is not coming out, and your team can't be yelling for the keeper to come out. So if it's helpful communication for you, if it's helping things get organized, like your center back maybe organizing a corner kick defense, that works. But if it's basically them telling you what to do, that doesn't work very good for goalkeepers. They can't really be helping you with what you need to do. You have to be organizing that yourself. All right, so that'll be it for today.